Hi, and welcome, Freedom Warriors. This is episode 4 of Essential Talk Podcasts, and this is where you stay for the conversation and leave empowered. I'm your host, Jamie Russo, with my two lovely hosts, Jessica and Kimberly. Today, we're going to talk about some of our internal well being and external, our physical body, our mental state, and our spiritual state. So, both Jessica and Kimberly are well versed on all of these topics, and we're going to take it away. Kimberly is going to start off our conversation today.
Hey, yes, I think the first thing of importance is to realize, sadly, that we have been conditioned and programmed and controlled our entire lives. So we've gotten so far away from ourselves that we value others' opinions before our own. I'm seeing that we're living a life fulfilling others before we honor ourselves, and we're continuing to look outside of ourselves for validation, conviction, approval. And whether that's through materialistic things or with people, it's no wonder we feel empty and alone and unhappy and worthless. You know, we've given our power away to other people instead of honoring and truly loving ourselves first. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of realizing that we have the power to reach our full potential, and we haven't actually been living that way. Regardless of our beliefs, I think we all can agree that we are a bundle of energy. Whether you resonate with the word God, universe, source, whatever, it's an awareness and a conscious energy that is love, and love doesn't have labels, so we can use whatever words we want. But I believe and think what we are all souls. We don't have a soul, we are a soul. And we're here to kind of have a physical experience while living in the physical human form. So we're here to be sovereign, and sovereignty is complete freedom. And I think what gets in the way with that is ego and trauma and mind control, which we're seeing a lot of right now. So when we become free of that, we begin to see the power of our beliefs, or the power that our beliefs had over us, and the mind control we've been in. And it's kind of scary, you know, but I think the important thing is to realize we all chose to be here. Whether we know that yet or not, whether we want to agree with that or not, we were all given an assignment, and some of us may never understand what's going on, and that's okay. Maybe they're not meant to, right? So everyone's truths are really important, and I think it's important to understand that everyone is doing their own part and playing their own role, and we are all this we're a beautiful piece to a larger puzzle at a play here. And I think we're kind of in an illusion of time as well, and we just need to realize that we're more powerful than we realize. The earth and universe is going to give us everything we need ultimately, and we need to stand in our sovereignty. We will come out of this, we do come out of this, but I'm realizing it isn't about intelligence, it's consciousness and sovereignty, and being thankful for our consciousness, and grateful that you have your sovereignty and you have choice. We all have free will, and know that we can reinvent ourselves at any point and moment and change whatever we want, because we're free, and we need to remember that we're free. It's never too late. We're never too old. Time is a complete illusion. And yeah, so I think recognizing how brainwashed and controlled we've been our whole lives is the first thing of breaking free for us. And for us to live in our true sovereignty, that we first have to at least acknowledge that.
I completely agree, Kim. And to add to that, I'm just it's so hard to actually fulfill your own mission and your own goals in life when you're weighed down by all of that, and having like constant distractions, and just feeling, especially the brainwashing. I gotta admit, like when it comes to being able to see clearly right now and to get through all of this, you have so many people who are walking around practically in a daze, and it's because they just they're so full of all of this right now that they can't make sense of any of it. You can't clearly see what's in front of you. There's so many distractions. It's both naturally, I mean, like you have distractions at home, you have family, your work, all those things that just are again a naturally occurring kind of thing, day-to-day kind of life. But then you have the, let's just say, purposely made distractions, false things that are thrown into your path that have really no rhyme or reason and that don't need to be there, but you're being subjected to without your consent. Again, as a free person, you really shouldn't have to deal with these types of things, but here we are. And so I mean, one of them, for example, like technology. Technology has its goods and its bads. It has its purpose and then its ill use. And so right now, it's ruining our ability to be patient and to actually live in the present, because you're constantly looking for that stimuli, for thatness to fill the in-betweens of everything. And people really, I find that is causing an overstimulation of your mental faculties. So you can no longer actually take in information properly. It has to be something that's controversial or sensational or cheaply eye-grabbing, in order for you to actually pay attention to it. And that's what's causing so much stuff to go under the radar, stuff that we really need to be on top of, that if we didn't have this stimuli like we used to, we would be more aware of certain things and more interested in, for example, politics, law, our education. But right now we're being subverted from that and controlled, and it's not in our best interests. And so because of that, it's like, and then they throw in other things too, where it's like there's so many movements that are happening right now that absolutely have a purpose. There is a reason for them and they're necessary, but they're being hijacked, and they're being hijacked to completely eliminate their legitimacy. Their narratives are being hijacked, and it's to create cyclical problems that have no solutions, but the only solution is to cause more division. It's just to make us more divided. So you have movements, for example, like women empowerment. Like that's fantastic. It's great to empower women. They were seen as the back step of everything for a while, and that they didn't have the voices, they weren't being seen properly. But then it almost switched, where it was becoming at the to push down men, to also in order to, it's almost like two drowning people, you're going to push down one to make the other float. That's not it, when you can really float together. Like, and so it just, again, creating division, where you're causing hate, where we need to have, again, empowerment, where we need to have people working together to find betterment within both things, to find togetherness instead of more division. And so and again, there's so many movements that are happening like that right now, where you see something, it has a great reason for it, but then ultimately it just crumbles, and it's because people are allowing it to have this massive division. And so that's where I'm at right now, where it's just like, we need to really be sticking together. Any movement that's out there right now, as soon as there starts to be drama within it, start looking at that drama. Those people who are causing that drama need to start really looking at themselves. Are you letting your ego get into this, or are you actually trying to build a better future for everybody? So egos need to really take a backseat when it comes to all this type of stuff right now. So yeah, that's my point right now.
I find one thing I didn't touch on is trauma. We all have trauma in our life, whether that's childhood trauma, whether it's teenage trauma, in our early adult life. We all have it, and trauma creates our belief systems, which then creates our realities. So there's many people out there that are living realities based on traumas that they're not even aware of. So trauma follows us, and if we haven't resolved it, we're always going to be a defensive when people are speaking their truths as well. And trauma prevents us from remembering our sovereignty and where we truly came from. It blocks our energies, and yeah, it's just we need to deal with our trauma and return to our truth and sovereignty and light and intuition and what we know, and we all have that ability to choose and have free will. But trauma is huge, and we need to recognize when we have a trigger and deal with our trauma. So we're not putting our BS on other people too. We really need to deal with triggers and traumas, I think, are really huge in life right now.
Yeah, that's some really good points that you both have made. The one thing I wanted to kind of start out with is going back on one of the things you said earlier, Kimberly, was about it all starts with the love vibration. So, and where that starts is self-love. So, what we really have to focus on to heal yourself, whether you have trauma or anything else, it all starts with self-love. One of the things I like to tell people when I'm speaking with them to help empower them is I'll ask them simple questions, because we all talk to ourselves internally. So I ask them, if you had a friend that talked to you the way that you talk to you, would they still be your friend? And for most people, that's a big no, because they call themselves names, a lot of negativity. So I try and tell them, okay, so revert that or switch that up. Okay, so instead of calling yourself an idiot or stupid, say, hey friend. You know what I mean? Start calling yourself friend. Hey friend, that didn't work out for us today. And then you can carry on the conversation completely different, as if you're talking to a loving friend and you're giving them advice or guidance. So this is where it changes, and you can really get into self-love, and this is where your world completely changes. Once you start to love yourself, you all of a sudden start to have a brighter future. It doesn't matter what starts happening to you. You're just engulfed in that love for yourself. And once you are able to fully love yourself, then and only then can you truly love anyone else. So this is where it all starts. And to hit on Jessica's topic, I've always said that as Canadians and Westerners, we are in an extremist society. And what I'm referring to by that is we go from left all the way to right, and we never stop in the middle. So when you go back years ago, it was women were mistreated and men seemed to be on the higher level. Now men are on the lower level and masculinity is attacked, and women are on the higher level. Children used to get hit. You go back about 3 generations and they would get hit with sticks or a paddle, and now they're not hit at all. So there's no happy middle. And I'm not saying that any of these things were right or wrong. I'm just saying that we've never met in the middle on it. So we go extreme from right all the way to the left, right? And to get back to some of Kimberly's conversation, and also Jessica both mentioned this, is as we're going through everything we're going through with this brainwashing, it's become quite a handful for us at moments emotionally, and is draining because we're watching a lot of our loved ones, friends, family, in this brainwashing that's happening, and we can clearly see it. So what I like to explain to people is this is a level of consciousness, and most people, I believe, misunderstand exactly what consciousness is. So a lot of times I will use in a text, I have 3 capital D, a less than sign, 4 capital D, an arrow to 5 capital D. And I'll usually put that in a text to somebody, several times until they ask what it is. So the explanation of that is the 3rd dimension is less than the 4th dimension and going to the 5th dimension. So what I mean by that is there's a lot of people that are going along with the whole narrative. They can't see the other side of it. And so they're 3-dimensional in their consciousness. So they're in the 3D. So it's almost like they're in a forest. And then us, the people that can see what's happening, we're in a lower to mid-level 4th dimensional consciousness. So it's almost like we're in an airplane. We're above the forest. We can see into the forest. We can see the mountains, the streams, the horizon, all of that stuff. But we know that our consciousness is moving into the 5th dimensional plane. So basically, a lot of people think it's going to be some sort of a physical shift. Consciousness is a lot of your thought. So it is happening at this moment, and the people that are in the fourth dimension consciousness are able to see clearly what's going on. The third dimension are struggling with it, and it's not their fault. This is just the difference in consciousness. It's not this glamorous, huge physical transformation. It's a lot to do with your thought. It doesn't have to do with IQ, EQ, or SQ. It just has to do with your state of consciousness and being. So I just wanted to touch on that point. So it's a little more simpler. Some people make it very, very complex. It's just, a lot of people don't understand it, and I think they get confused by it.
Yeah, and I think we're living obviously a stressful time where a lot of things are out of our control, yet there is so much that we can control. There's ways for us to cope better and to treat ourselves naturally back to better health. Jessica, did you want to start on some points, and I'll take over from there?
No problem. So my main points are things that I think everyone has heard at least once in their life, and no one really likes to talk about it because it's just self-care is more than just feeling good. There are certain things that you have to do that you have to put into a daily routine, and it's very important for these types of things on so many different levels. And so the things I'm going to mention, you've heard before, but really, when it comes down to it, things like, for example, the amount of water that you take in. I know everyone's like, oh, I get told all the time to drink enough water, but it's just, I cannot speak how highly that is important to you, especially at this point in time when our brains are being befuddled, when we feel like we can't think clearly, when our bodies are aching, we're not feeling our best. You really got to look at what you're doing to take care of yourself. And so something as simple as drinking enough water in your day can make a huge difference. Most people are dehydrated, and when your body has been in that state for so long, your brain is not going to think right. You're going to make bad choices. You're going to be emotional. You're going to start to get into habits based off emotion, and you can see things happening in your life that you don't even realize that you're the catalyst for. And so I do find that when you drink enough water, something as small as that, it's going to help with your eating habits. So a lot of people will overeat because your body is going to try to make you eat food to get the liquids that it needs to survive. So if you just have a glass of water when you're hungry, you'd be surprised at how many times you're going to not end up eating. And so especially now when we're faced with lockdowns, quarantines, can't go anywhere, can't enjoy things, a lot of people are coping with food. And it's not to say that that's fine. That's understandable. It's an understandable thing to reach for right now, because how else are you going to cope when you can't do anything? And so it's just, self-harm can come in many different forms, and self-sabotage as well too. And so if you're doing things that ultimately are hurting you and you know that they're hurting you, the only person that's going to be able to actually stop them is yourself. And so something as small as, again, drinking water can do wonders when it comes to that kind of thing. So don't overestimate the small things, because all the small things add up to big things in the long run. And so again too, how much have you moved around in the last little bit? There is something to be said. Yes, if you definitely have a physical job. So a lot of people who are nurses, they're moving all day long. And so yes, you're definitely burning a lot of calories like that. It's going to be challenging on your body, making sure you have proper footwear and things like that. But people who are at home, who are working from home, especially if you had a job that was physical and now you're working from home, the difference that makes on your body as well too. So it's as simple as, if you're working from home and you're saying to yourself, I don't have the time to work out, I don't have the energy, I don't have the capacity to do that. I hear this all the time in my line of work. And so really, you're absolutely right. Like, when it comes down to it, if you don't feel like you have the time, you can potentially make the time. It's about the self-care. But if you're really finding even that's a struggle, if you're working from home and you're sitting there for 8 hours in a day, every hour you have an alarm, goes off, you stand there, you do 10 squats, you sit back down again, you continue working. Every hour. At the end of that, you've done 80 sets of squats. for nothing. Literally, how long did it take for you to do a set of squats? 30 seconds. So really, it's like you can build these things into your day. The excuses that we make are to protect our own egos, to keep us from changing what we feel is our deserved punishments. So if you really do feel like you are ashamed of yourself, guilt, anger, hurt, and you have nowhere to direct it, you'll put it right back on yourself. And so that's where you'll do these self-sabotage type things. So I personally don't drink enough water. I know I need to. I can definitely feel the difference when I do. My skin's better. My hair grows. Probably with everyone else, the hair's falling out from all the stress. And so I know that it does me good. I know that it does me a lot better. And so I've been trying to get back onto that. It is a horse that I constantly fall off on. But there is no point, like Jamie was saying, are you going to beat yourself up on a regular basis? Like, what kind of negative self-talk are you going to give yourself regularly? And what good is that going to actually do you? So catching yourself when you've fallen off, saying, it's okay. Everyone falls off. I'm going to get right back on this. So I also have a habit of not getting enough sleep. I try to extend out the amount of what I call leisure time at the end of my day. So I get off work and it's sometimes 7, 8, 9 o'clock. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I should be in bed by 11 o'clock midnight. And that gives me 3 or 4 hours to do all the things I need to do. So I'm going to have to get in a workout. I'm going to have to eat my dinner. I'm going to have to do all the extra chores I have to do, make sure the house is clean for the next day. And by the end of that time, I don't have that leisure time that I anticipated I was going to have. So what do? I stay up until 2 or 3 in the morning. And so if I have to wake up at 9 in the morning, it's like, I'm not getting enough sleep. And so really, which is then going to make me more tired and more anxious and potentially more depressed, more everything that's negative. And all I've done is hurt myself more by not giving myself what I actually need. And so, yes, what am I doing in my leisure time? This, that, the other thing, reading maybe. But I'm pushing off what I know I need to get done, which is go to bed. so we all do this. We're all guilty of this from time to time. If you don't like your job, I like my job. I really do. But I do like my leisure time. And so I'm really trying to right now find the balance between the two to make sure that I'm getting enough sleep. We made it a goal last night, myself and my husband. We went to bed at midnight. We were very careful about it. We didn't do almost anything all night. We tried to watch The Postman, and I don't like that movie. I think it's Kevin Costner, not a fan. And so we ended up just went to bed at midnight, and I feel so much better today than I did for the past week. And so I will say, from somebody who does this on a regular basis, I'm telling you, get enough sleep. It really will do you good. And so those are my things that I wanted to touch on in terms of keeping healthy.
Yeah, such great basic points that we don't put enough time into, but yet they're so simple, right? I want to touch on grounding and earthing and how important that is. There's been research that shows that there's so many physical health benefits from grounding. For those of you that don't know what that is, that can entail literally going barefoot and walking in the grass, on the pavement, even on the mud. It literally helps maintain your presence. It can help reduce inflammation, decrease pain, improves blood flow. There's so many health benefits to that. And me being a certified reflexologist, there's pressure points on your feet that correspond to all your glands and organs in your whole body. So by applying pressure on those points, you can release tension, improve circulation throughout your whole body, and just continue to have optimum health. So I feel like grounding and reflexology can be really linked to that. And for those of you that have benefits with your work, go get a treatment, whether that's chiro, physio, osteo, massage. There's so many health benefits that these things help with. It puts your body in a parasympathetic state, which is your rest and repair. And we're right now living in fight and flight mode, and our cortisol levels are through the roof. So it's really important to take advantage of your benefits if you have them. I'm amazed at how many clients of mine say they have benefits and they don't use them. I'm just mind-boggling. Also, hydrotherapy is, I went to school for massage and hydrotherapy years ago. So we learned the importance of water and using water to help ourselves heal. That can involve hand soaks, running your hands under cold water, then warm water, then cold water, back and forth. Cold compress, even on the back of your spine for 15 minutes, is equivalent to 3 weeks on an inversion table. And foot soaks too, right? Doing the hot and cold and hot, it turns your pain receptors off, it relaxes your muscles and nerves, and it can just really pull out negative energy from you from your grounding points. So little things such as water can be so healing. I do want to talk about essential oils. It's literally plant therapy. I think it's important to realize the benefits that they have physical and emotionally. They can be used topically, whether it's along your spine, on the bottoms of your feet, on your heart. You can diffuse them, put them in your soaps, room sprays, detergents, cleaning supplies, or even take them internally. I take so many essential oils internally, but be careful which ones you're taking. Some people take them by mouth, in capsules, in their water and food. And also be careful what brands you're choosing. I don't want to say too many. I've worked with about a dozen in my 20 plus years career, and I gotta say they all have different qualities and purities and safeties and potencies. The oil company is completely unregulated, so there's only maybe a couple or a few that do thorough testing, actually, and they have to have a strict certified pure tested grade quality protocol. So be careful which brands you're choosing. But with what we're dealing with in the world right now, I'd say my top 3 would be frankincense. It's huge for cellular repair, grounding, and immunity. Rose, it's amazing for your immune health, cellular support, and reconnection to self. Rose is super expensive, but you can find it in a blend or dilute it in a roller bottle. You can figure that out. And also sage. Sage is great for digestion, circulation disorders, inflammation, depression, and other diseases. So going back to our roots and really, plant therapy can heal you on so many levels. And the last one I want to touch on, it's not a physical one, it's something emotional we can all do, and that's unplugging and just truly reconnecting to ourselves. We can't be of service to anyone if we aren't taking care of ourselves first. So we will benefit others more if we're adamant about our self-care. And we can do that in so many ways. Removing yourself or taking breaks from social media is huge, whether that's once a day, once a week, whatever you got to do. Putting your phone away, getting rid of the FOMO, the fear of missing out, and just really be present. Turning off your TV, we all have our guilty pleasure. I have mine, but recognizing it when it's a mindless escape and choosing to put on an inspirational speech or an awesome podcast instead, right? So reading and writing is huge too. Reading literally strengthens our brain. Journaling, writing down stuff, you really need to release and get stuff out. So that's important too. Like Jamie commented earlier, being mindful of your thoughts and feelings. This is huge. I think there was a new study last year I read. It was the average person has, I think, over 6,000 thoughts a day. So being very aware of your internal dialogue and how you talk to yourself, and just being the observer is really important. If your thoughts are centered on what's missing, more of that's going to show up. So I'm a firm believer that we get what we think about. So it's important to keep our thoughts as positive as possible, and loving ourselves enough to disengage from low vibrational frequencies. Connect yourself with people who are open-minded, and listen to your intuition. I've heard that someone say your prayers and affirmations are your way of talking to God or source or energy, but your intuition is God talking to you. So I think it's really important to listen to that and trust that and surrender to everything really going on, and stop taking yourself too seriously sometimes too. We're all control freaks, and I think we need to remember to laugh. I try and have one huge belly laugh every day. Laughter is literally medicine, and it relieves pain, it helps your heart, it reduces stress. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave that. Laugh more.
Yeah, well, they say laughter is the best medicine. So I do my daily part every morning. I wake up, I look in the mirror, I laugh at myself. Then I'm allowed to make fun of everyone else throughout the day. So that's how that goes. I want to touch back on water because, again, everybody has heard this, but I don't believe that people really understand just how important water is. So there is a Dr. Masaru Emoto. So he's a Japanese doctor. He did a water study. So he had two water bottles. One he wrote love on it. The other one he wrote hate. Everybody that was in the office or the lab, the employees, when they walked past the love bottle, they would tell the water how much they loved it, how much they cared for it, how good it was to them. The one with hate on it, they projected their anger at it. They told it how bad it was, called it names, swore at it, all that kind of thing, and they projected their anger. So basically, one, they were projecting love, one, they were projecting anger. So what happened was, during this study, they wound up freezing the water. And the one that had love on it, when they froze it, it turned into beautiful ice crystals. And they were very even, very beautiful looking, and just elegant, right? And then the one that had hate on it, when they froze that, the water crystals were very ugly. They were distorted. They didn't all have the six sides. They were just really, just ugly and dirty looking. So the one thing that this study is showing us is just how important your projections are, and how water is influenced. Literally, how your energy can change the composition of water. You might not physically see it when it's in a water bottle, but when you're freezing it, you're getting evidence of what actually happens and what transitions with the water. So our body is made up of about 90% water. So really think about that. If you are not into self-love and you're doing hateful projections on yourself, what is happening to the water state that's within your body? This is how important this is. So to gain a better viewpoint, consciousness, lifestyle, this is how important water itself is. Also, with that being said, proper food, good nourishment, and a consistent level with the food, right? I myself, I pretty much eat all organic. Some people can't do that, and that's fine, but be conscious. You can make better choices when you're picking up fast food. You don't have to have the sugary donut or the pancake with sausage and eggs and drowned it in ketchup and mayonnaise and that kind of thing. So you can make better choices. Also, to go back with Kimberly when she was talking about grounding, one of the easiest, quickest ways to ground yourself: bury your feet in the sand and sit there for 10 to 15 minutes. That's it. It's super simple. You don't have to do anything. Just sit there, listen to the birds chirp, watch squirrels run around, that kind of thing. Very simple. You connect very quickly. Super easy. Also with essential oils, I like essential oils. But again, you have to really do your research. Find the ones that are the most pure. Very, very important. Really research your companies that you're going to deal with. Is highly critical on them working effectively. For example, lavender, there's a lot of lavender that isn't the real lavender. And the same with oregano. A lot of people, what we're getting in the stores for oregano or oregano oil, we're getting the weed, not the herb. So there's a huge difference on the healing properties of that. And so make sure you do your research and you know where all that is coming from. Also, when we're disconnecting from a lot of our electronics, most of us wind up going to bed and we take our phone and it's on our night table or it's in our bedroom with us. You might have your tablet in there. You might have a couple other things. Put them in airplane mode at least. And then do that for a couple of nights and see how you wake up the next day. A lot of people are waking up agitated, and sometimes is just that alone. So try that, or leave your phone out of your room. Even if it's downstairs in the living room, still put it in airplane mode. Try that a couple of nights. See how that works for you. See if you're waking up a little more, refreshed, not as agitated, that kind of thing. So all of these will help you, especially get through your day, especially in these stressful times. Going for walks, that's a really good one, and it's so overlooked. If you go for, even a 20-minute, 40-minute walk, it doesn't have to be a super long walk, and don't look at your feet. There's something about the way that your brain will work when you're looking about 30 feet in front of you, and you maintain that. Don't look too far, don't look too low. But when you're at about the 30-foot mark in front of you, there's something that your brain starts to regulate with chemicals that actually relaxes you and helps you process a lot of different things throughout your day. It helps get you emotionally balanced. So it's very beneficial. And walking at a fairly decent pace is great exercise. I think that is the one exercise that's the most underlooked. It regulates so many things in your body, it's ridiculous. So a nightly walk will do you a world of good. And physical workouts. Jessica told you a simple way in between, what you're doing every hour or so. You can get up, do some squats, walk around. I'm a tattoo artist, so I sit down all day. So there's times I'm tattooing 6-10 hours. I've done that before. And about every hour I try to get up and I walk around for about 5 minutes. It's very important. Your leg circulation is extremely important. And a lot of people take that for granted. They just don't know. And that helps regulate a lot of your health. Your legs are super important to the whole aspect of your physical health. So if you have improper circulation, or if you keep skipping leg day, if you're working out in the gym, it's highly beneficial if you do leg day. When I am in the gym, I always do leg day right at the beginning of the week because I like to start my week that way. A lot of people like it at the end of the week because they hate it. Me, I like to get it out of the way in the beginning of the week. And then when you're working out, you can actually maintain a high level of your metabolism. So it's pretty neat. So all of this stuff is good to research. Do your research, get some knowledge. If you can't find specific things, don't be shy. Reach out to people. There's a lot of professionals out there, especially in this time with a lot of the personal care. We all need your business. So it's beneficial for you and for people like ourselves. You can get yourself a personal coach. You can go visit Kimberly. You can go visit Jessica. Give them your business, people like them, and get yourself healthy. And it helps you with your stress levels. Routine is a highly important thing as well. A lot of people, when you get in that routine, it's kind of like when Jessica was saying, she got to bed earlier, she felt better. So myself, I'm terrible for it as well. I get so running, especially lately. Before, my bedtime was around 11:30 to midnight, and then I'd wake up at 6:30, do my workouts and everything else. Now I'm all over the map. So it's kind of out the window. So I got to get that back in track for me.
One thing I will add is people think you need to train and work out for an hour or 45 minutes or 2 hours. There's free apps on your phone or tablet. You can literally get a Tabata workout or a high intense interval training workout in within 10 to 12 minutes, 15, 20 max, and you are dying. I can pick 2 exercises go back and forth doing a Tabata or high intense interval training, and I'm literally dying in 3 minutes. My heart rate's up there, it's high, and there's just so much you can get done. So just getting away from that idea that you need to be in a gym for 2 hours. There's always time to get stuff in. How have you guys maintained your composure while staying open throughout all of this? Do you want to touch on that?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, like, talking about self-care, self-love, all these things. Personally, I can get, what I end up doing is I go too much, and then I become depressed. I have this, like, my mental and capable elastic band stretches too far, and then it can't rebound properly. And so I get this feeling like not enough butter spread across too much bread. Like, I'm a cloth that's been worn too many times. It's just, and then I'm full of holes. So I really do suffer with periodic depression. I'm not chronically depressed. I just periodic depression. So what I've found is that there is a I don't call it cyclical, but there are certain things that set me off. And so I'm starting to really understand myself. So to really try to figure out what my triggers are. What are the warning signs? What can I see that is happening that I can then say, okay, I'm going to do better, so that it doesn't get to a full-blown depression episode where I'm stuck in that for 6 weeks. And so what I like to do is I've started to coin it as I date myself. I do very nice things that I wish someone who loves me would do, so a lover would do. I almost visualize myself as two different people. The person who is going to do the taking care of, and the person who's going to enjoy it. It is still me at the end of the day. I am one person. I'm one being. But I think to myself, what would I love right now? What would I love to do that would be really good for me? And then I do that thing for myself. So sometimes it takes a little bit of that extra effort to do the thing, but then I am there to enjoy it. And so I really like that. There is nobody who's going to know you more than you know yourself, and there's nobody who's going to know what you need more than yourself. And so if I need positive words of affirmation, what I have found is that you can say them all you want inside your head, but it's not until you hear them out loud that it actually does something to do a chemical release for you. And so I'll say to myself, like, so so when I'm struggling and I need to be courageous, I'm about to go into a store without a mask, or I am about to have a bylaw visit me, and I'm like, oh God, I will be like, Jessica, you are a strong, independent woman. You can do this. And I will say this out loud. And as goofy as that freaking sounds, I am telling you, there is something to be said about hearing those words out loud. I know what I need to hear in this moment in time, and I will say it to myself because I am deserving of those words, and I need to hear it, and I need somebody in my back corner, and it's going to be me. And so that's what I do. And so same thing with self-care type things. Like, everyone talks about self-care in this almost passe kind of way, but it wasn't until I was literally at the point of having a breakdown that I was in a really depressive episode, and I laid on the floor and read a book all day. And my husband came home, and I was just like, I feel like I'm like a lazy piece of shit. I didn't do anything all day. All I did was lay there and read. He's like, what's the problem with that? Like, you really had nowhere else to be, and that's what you wanted to do, and that's totally fine. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't do anything. I didn't accomplish anything. He's like, you laid there and read all day. Do you have any idea what that did for your mental health? And I was like, I didn't think about it that way. I'm an accomplishment-based person. I'm a very controlling person. When things are out of my control, I start to lose control. And so I've had to kind of take a step back and realize there are the things I can control and the things that I can't. The things that I can't, I got to learn to let that go. Things that I can control are the things that I can also do for me as well too. And so I really try to do things like, again, reading, like what you guys were touching on, basically, like how good that is for your brain structure. I really do find that I am a much more creative being. I'm a more, I don't know how to describe it. It just puts me more, I'm able to, not that I can do it right now, I'm able to verbalize better. So I'm doing a bad example of that right now, but I do find that I can structure the way that I'm vocalizing things much more efficiently when I have been reading for a while. Also, too, going for walks, like what Jamie was saying. It's just like, and even what Kimberly was saying, getting your feet on the ground. I will, not maybe in the wintertime, but in the summertime, I will take my shoes off and walk through the grass. It really does make you feel a lot better. I do feel like I'm in touch with nature and I can just like feel things. And I like that. And so taking baths, I really like bath bombs. I really think that they're great. My mother-in-law makes bath bombs. And so she makes lovely ones. And so every time she comes over, I'm like, me bath bombs. And so, yeah, so I can just put one of those in the bath and just kind of relax. I have a bath, it's a thing that goes over top of the bath so you can like have like a shelf. And so I'll have like a glass of wine and my book. and I can just kind of like leave my phone in another room and unplug. And so, yeah, so I really like that. I'm also moving soon. So I'm not going to be on the next podcast, but I have a yard. I'm going to have a yard and I'm going to be able to garden, as you can see with my plants behind me. I am so excited. And so that is what gets me in touch with nature and really helps me to maintain my mental health, my composure. It helps me to, all these things help me to weighingly deal with the stressors I have in my life. So if you have all this stress and it's weighing you down, if you do not balance that out, you're going to cave, you're going to crumble. And for me, that takes a form of depression. I become listless. I am not able to focus. I cannot enjoy the things I would enjoy if I was doing better self-care. So when I'm in balance, I can actually enjoy my self-care things and not be weighed down about the burdens that I've unleveled myself with. So that's what I do to make myself feel nice.
That's awesome. I think it's important for us to remember that whatever's happening right now is not permanent too. So we're going to be changing it by taking action and speaking up, and we're creating our realities. So it's important to be in each moment, but to know each moment is temporary too. I do want to say, if you're afraid to use your voice, I feel like you're already compromised. You've already become a slave to other people's feelings. In order to move higher and evolve and grow, we can't be bothered with explaining ourselves to people who maybe are already determined to misunderstand us and not believe us. So we have to speak our truth anyways. For me, setting boundaries is huge. If something doesn't feel right, it likely isn't. And we are in charge of our mental and emotional state. So setting up boundaries, speaking up, not making excuses, having selfish time, giving yourself grace when you mess up, when you F up, right? And also being proud of your achievements and your growth. And we get through this. So those are my like quirky little things, but setting boundaries is really huge for me. Jamie, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, the way I've been kind of dealing and coping with this in the beginning. So I'd say January, when I was, working through the lockdown, that was probably the most I was stressed out till February, because I knew I was going to open. I knew I was putting the open sign on. I was driving to work and I remember thinking to myself, why do I feel like I have a pound of cocaine sitting beside me, right? You feel like you're breaking the law. Then when I was in my studio, I was like, oh my God, we're in our hideout. We just robbed a stagecoach, right? So we're going through all this stress. And there was a point where I was like, why am I feeling this way? And then I remembered my old remedy. Take a fuck it all. Just throw your hands up and you just move forward. So at that point, it's like, you don't care. So when I made my videos, before I did those videos, I knew what I was going to do. I already laid it out. So this is a key factor as well. When you plan what you're doing and you can lay it out on the line. So I knew what I was about to do. I knew that I was going to advertise for a couple of weeks. I knew I was calling them to my door. I was calling the wolves to the door. And I laid it on the line. I said, I'll deal with it when it comes. I'm going to throw myself in the fire. I'll deal with it when it comes. And yeah, basically I just took control of it, and I wagered what I was ready to lose. What am I ready to lose in this entire fight to maintain our freedom and having our country maintain the level of freedom we've always enjoyed? I'm prepared to lose my entire business. I'm prepared to lose it all, because our future generations are very important. Our children, our children's children, and the future generation beyond them is more important than my business, than any of our business. And if that's what I have to sacrifice to stand up, become a voice for anyone that can't stand up, or show them a way, or cut the path, or whatever you want to call it, then that's what I was prepared to do. So once I was in that position, I'm just dealing with it now. So instead of getting anxiety to build up to it, I find I throw myself into the fire, and then I deal with it, and then I don't have anxiety over it. So before, this year, I was terrible at public speaking. I would avoid it. I didn't want to do it. Anything to get out of it. So after I did the videos, there was a group of business owners that wanted to do a rally in downtown Barrie, and they were trying to pull me into it, and I was like, nope, not doing it. And then I started to think about it and said, no, this is the opportunity for growth and change. And so as you're going through these stressful times, this is a key factor as well, is you look for the growth and the change you're about to experience. You're looking for your life lessons. And so that's what I did. And then I pushed myself. Get out of your comfort zone, because in your comfort zone, you don't grow anywhere. You don't get over anything. You don't resolve anything. So I pushed myself. I did my first, public speaking. There was several hundred people there. So it's pretty good. I was really nervous. And now I'm doing weekly meetings. I'm starting to do a couple of the rallies, and, some of the meetings I'm standing up in front of 100 people, and I am actually getting comfortable and fluent in it. So now I don't have the anxiety. So a lot of times you have to know what your purpose is, where you want to take it, and where you want to see yourself. So essentially where all this starts is right here. You have to think it, know it, believe it, then walk it, right? And the better you do that, the better off you are. But I also, drink a lot of water. I do work out. I was getting a lot of sleep until the past few months, so I was doing all of these steps, and it makes a huge difference in your life. You're able to accomplish more. Like I'm go, 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 and I never look back. I usually just run. Every now and then I'll stop, I'll pause, and I'll do a small what is it? I'll just look back at what I've accomplished, right? But every now and then I do that. I'm too busy running. So the running I'm doing now, I'm kind of used to it because I've been doing it for years. But every now and then I still have to stop, and I beat myself up a lot of times, but in a good way, because I always think I don't do enough. And then other people will tell me all that I've done, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I am doing something. But in my head, I never do enough. But I always look at it, you aim for the moon, because if you go for the tops of the trees, you're going to get halfway there. If you go for the moon, you're going to get halfway up the sky. So that's kind of my motto. And then when you do your really good, where it's a big accomplishment, take yourself out for dinner, spoil yourself somehow, give yourself those rewards. And I do that, right? You have to treat yourself, or else you're doing it all for nothing. And it's with those little rewards that is, again, we're going back to self-love. You give yourself that reward for your accomplishments and your achievements, and it clears your mental state. Now you know that it wasn't in vain, everything you've been doing. So that's a lot of ways that I wind up coping with a bunch of the things that we are all doing at this moment. Plus, on top of that, early January, I think it was around January 4th, it's probably the day that I opened, maybe just after, I wound up joining We Are All Essential, and I got involved with that network. I started to learn a bunch of things, started to learn about common law. I was going to both their meetings, so twice a week, and, the Zoom meetings, and then I got into their Telegram chat, started to participate in all of these ways, and just being around like-minded people and sharing your ideas, coming together, and then knowing that you can talk to people openly and freely, that's another key factor. So me joining We Are All Essential really helped me out. It helped me empower myself. I remember having a talk with Samantha Flatman, the managing director of We Are All Essential, and I told her, I said, I can't wait till I step into my power. And she said, I already think you did. And so I checked the bottom of my shoe and nothing was there. But anyways, but this is how we're all going. So I cannot thank that organization enough. I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm proud to help mentor other businesses throughout it. And if you're a business, I encourage you to join. You can register. You don't have to go public. You can keep it behind the scenes. There's all kinds of training videos, information. You can learn all about your rights, and then get into the Telegram chat and be around like-minded people that can help coach you through any situation, even if it's just a shoulder to cry on, complain about, ask advice, whatever, somebody's there for you. If you are not a business owner, then, volunteers, we cannot have enough people helping us, especially in this time. This is where we all have to start to come together. We're on an extremely slippery slope with this vaccine, the V pass coming out, right? And this is where we all have to kind of pool together, lock arms. It doesn't matter what you're doing, what your viewpoints are, that kind of thing, whether you are jabbed or unjabbed, masked or not. This is a very slippery slope, and we all have to kind of be there to support each other and get ourselves functioning the best that we can to be there for others as well. Anyone want to recap on anything?
Ditto. To what you said. Go ahead, Jess.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute it. So just that I will say, in terms of mental health and stuff like that, it really, I must agree with you, Jamie. It has really been so helpful and so empowering to have the Well Essential group in my back pocket whenever I need them. Just sharing information, we can all jump on things really fast. Like, it's such a good resource. And so I really wouldn't, like I said, I don't think I would have had anywhere near the feelings of empowerment and being able to stand up for myself and for my business if it hadn't been for them. I got to admit, that was joining their network was one of the best decisions I've ever made as a business. And just the confidence that it's given me, and just having people that you can lean on when you're not feeling strong. There is so many people there that are ready for it, and as soon as you're feeling strong again, there are people there that are needing to lean on you. And so it's just a give and take, and it's such a good community. So I gotta admit, just from both a business and a personal standpoint, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I also want to say, the We Are All Central Network has done so much. It's hard to put it into words, but I think businesses have a duty to stand right now and stick to a decent policy and not discriminate and not segregate. And standing up and speaking and using your voice, you're going to attract so many more clients, and it really is going to benefit you. And I think the positive thing right now is realizing most humans have awakened, and I'm excited for what's to come. The enemy can try and take us out and wear us out, but he does this through distraction. So virtue signaling, propaganda, lies, gaslighting. We just need to say no to it and really become involved in an amazing community such as We Are All Essential will get us through this.
Exactly. Consent makes the law. So that's in the Black Law Dictionary. So consent makes the law. So when you actually understand what that means, it's all a contract. So I do not consent, I do not agree, and I will not comply. This is where we have to stand in order to move forward. So I think that was a great episode, and I hope you all got empowered from this. Again, feel free to join our network. The other thing I've been promoting, and I've been coordinating any community, start to get together for face-to-face meetings. We have forgotten the importance of the human connection. This is also for your mental health, which helps your physical health. Go shake someone's hand, go hug a stranger. You might be surprised how they feel and how you will feel. So, don't give that a second look. But anyways, have a great night until our next episode.